Don't you see we handling grown folks' business?
This one's for the grown and sexy. Grown and sexy.
I love it.
I love it.
You already know.
By Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
Well, I like the sound of that.
And we like the sound of that too. And welcome to Straight No Chaser, where we never dilute the issues. We only serve the hard stuff. Well, we're back for another issue. And of course, we're live from the Brokers Health Studios. And we are just so happy to be here this evening, but can't go any further until we introduce the man, the myth, the legend. A guest host, Dr. D.
Hello, everyone. Good to be back, Steve. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Doc, it's good to see you as always, and we're glad to have you here. And tonight we're going to talk about a very important topic, and that is it's back to school time. Yep. And we have a really, really amazing guest with us tonight. We have with us Mr. Joseph Thompson. And
hello, good evening.
25-year educator from the Baltimore City Public Schools, and he's done a variety of things in Baltimore. We're going to let him talk about all the amazing things that he's done, so you can understand the depth of his expertise as we move forward in the discussion. So, Joe, welcome to the show, and introduce yourself, man. Tell us all about yourself.
Hi, my name is Joseph Thompson. I have been actually, I'm a special educator. My expertise is in special education. I just finished my 25th year, and school starts back for us. Staff go back August 19th. Students come August 26th. Summer's almost over.
Wow. That sounds like you're excited, man.
Yeah, a little bit. But I am the point now that I am a tad bit bored. I'm just about ready to go back. Give me another week or so.
Understood. Well, you know, education is Dr. T's thing. So I'm just going to sit back and listen to educated man talk.
Okay. I'm going to throw a fastball right to you, right in the middle.
Oh, here it comes.
This is easy. So with you being in the school system for 25 years, there's things that have changed, right? And on social media, we see people, at least with my algorithm, where, you know, there's some parents that don't want to buy school supplies and there's some parents that do. So what have you noticed lately in the trends of parental involvement with schools?
Well, Doc, basically the only time we get parental involvement when something is going wrong, for the most part. As far as you saying with school supplies, Baltimore City has gotten into the habit of giving everything away free. Okay. They give them free backpacks, free supplies, free haircuts, free everything, and they don't put the onus on the parents. Yeah. And the parents wait. Our issue is the parents wait for all this stuff to happen before they do anything. Kids come to school without school supplies. You know, you always have to give them school supplies, and I tell them all the time. I mean, school supplies. How you come to school, you don't have a pencil. How you come to school and you don't have anything. But that's the issue I have. They don't give any free computers. Also, my main thing is that they give everything free. They don't have to put the parents any stake in the situation, as far as I'm concerned.
So what is your thinking? I mean, you stated that where the community really gets involved, right? So, and you mentioned the haircuts, and that happens in Las Vegas as well. You have the churches giving out supplies, Divine Nine giving out supplies, the school district themselves give out supplies. You know, everyone's giving out supplies, but you have some students that come first day with nothing. I'm like, where have you been?
Right. Our thing is, we used to start school after Labor Day.
Yes.
School started the day after Labor Day, and a lot of parents would get that last check, and they would get all the supplies for the students. Now with school starting before Labor Day and before the parents had to get that last check, they claim that they don't have any money. But Doc, they all have cell phones though.
Some of them the top of the line, right?
Some of them top of the line. Some of them top of the line.
So with your expertise in special ed, what grades do you assist our special needs students in?
I have assisted anywhere from pre-K to 8th grade.
Okay.
And what I am considered what they call a resource teacher.
Yep.
And what a resource teacher does, they pull out students and work with them mostly individually.
Yep.
So I know you've heard of an IEP, an individual education plan.
Yep.
And what the resource teacher does is works off of that.
Yep.
Because the kid has goals and objectives they're trying to meet. Most of the kids that I deal with are usually 2 to 3 grade levels below where they are, where
Yep.
they should be.
So you went straight to the IEP topic, and I wanted to wait a little bit. Within your experience, were there any parents that have stated, okay, my child does have an IEP. What's the plan? What do we need to do to make sure my son or daughter can exit having an IEP and can learn independently without it? Have you come across some parents like that, or is just okay IEP day one until they graduate?
Yes, I come across some parents who want to get their kids so-called off the IEP, but it's what we usually have. We have a team of people working with that. Occupational therapists, speech pathologists, and dealing with whatever the student's major issue is. But yes, we have some parents who want to get their kids off IEPs, and we have some who don't because they get a federal subsidy from the federal government for kids in special education.
I'm laughing because of experience. I didn't know that, and I learned it the hard way, where this mom was just yelling at me, where's the IEP? Where's the IEP? I'm like, well, we're working at it. We're working on it. We're collecting data. We're doing this. We're doing that. You're not moving fast enough. You're not moving fast enough. I'm like, I'm trying. And then the special education coordinator told me, hey, if she's an IEP, she gets a check from the government. I'm like, really? I didn't know that,
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't know. I was very early in my administration career.
Wait, who gets the check?
The parent.
Yep.
Parent gets. So if I have 3 kids under an IEP thing, everybody gets a check. I get
everybody gets a check.
So wow.
We have had. Let me tell you this. We had. Wow. I was in a school one year. This lady had 8 kids, and all 8 of them on IEPs. So she got 8 individual checks every month for those kids.
And how much are the checks?
I really don't know. I think it's different. It's different price ranges for different areas and things like that. And, I've never seen a check, and I've never had a parent really tell me, how much they're getting. I mean, I don't ask, but I've never had parents say. But we have some parents that fight us tooth and nail to keep those kids on IEPs so they can get their check.
So is it like a sliding scale of stupidity, or what are we doing?
I think it's a sliding scale of how severe their disability is.
Yeah.
Oh, this is based on disability, not
disability.
Let me take that back. I'm sorry. I thought it was a sliding scale of stupidity.
No,
it's based on intellect. All right, so I'm just going to cut my mic off.
So, Mr. Thompson, I'm coming to your classroom. I'm a brand new father, right? And then my son or daughter studying school. What advice are you going to give me to make sure that my child is successful?
One of the main things I would say, Dr. T, is to enforce whatever the kid is learning in school at home. We have gotten to the point now that in Baltimore City, they don't give out homework because the kids won't do homework, won't do the homework. And what we try to tell them, that homework is not a punishment. Homework is a reinforcement of what you learned during the day.
Yep.
And say the only way, and my thing is, I tell them all the time, the only way you get better at stuff is practice.
Yep.
You good at these PlayStation 5s and all of that. I say, how you get good at it? You play it all the time. You practice. That's the only way you're gonna get better at math is practice. You know. Yep. But kids won't do homework. They don't. A lot of teachers don't even give it anymore because they don't do it.
And it's such a disservice because, I mean, on the other side, when we were kids, I remember getting in trouble with my parents because, I was very good at math and we were doing 2 and 3-digit multiplication. Mm-hmm. And I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade and I knew the concept. Mm-hmm. But back in the day when we were kids, okay, there's a 1-page front and back that you have to have it done and bring it in the next day.
Absolutely.
So my thing is, okay, I know how to do it. Why am I practicing it, right? And that's where the battles came when we were kids. Mm-hmm. And then I think we went to the other extreme where, okay, you have nothing. I do believe in homework. I do believe, okay, we're doing the 2, 3 digit multiplication. Take a couple, maybe 3 to 5, problems at home to do it. And then, okay, you mastered it, call it a day, right? You find that teachers at least try to do that and, engage their students, or they're just like, okay, it's a Baltimore school district rule, no homework.
We try to engage them. Some teachers still do give homework.
Okay.
And when I talk to them, a lot of them say, I give this homework, out of 25 kids, 5 kids do the homework.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what can you do? You can, the only way, like I said, the only way you get better at stuff is with the homework is the reinforcement. And I tell the kids I work with, I said, if you take 20 to 30 minutes a day in the evening just to do some work, you'd be surprised. If you don't have to sit there all evening and do homework.
Right.
Just about a half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yep.
That's all you need.
So I'm gonna wait to one of the stories that you want to share with us that is totally off the wall. So we'll wait for that one. It's coming. It's coming. Being in the district for 25 years, I know you have 10 stories to tell us. But have you ever encountered a parent where, you try to engage them at the end of the year? Because now it's hard to retain students, right?
Right.
So have you had a parent that you try to engage throughout the entire year, right? And at the end of the year, they're yelling at you because they didn't know their kid was 2 years behind. They didn't know that their kid had Fs or their kid have absences. Have you come across that?
That is most so the kids who are in the regular classrooms.
Okay.
Yeah, most so that case, because we have parents at the end of the school year come in and say, oh, wow, my kid is not going to the next grade. And the thing we always say is that, have you looked at a report card, a progress report anytime during this year? And because with little kids, because last year I had second graders and first graders.
Okay.
And once a week, I would look through their book bags just to see what was going on. And a lot of times, all the stuff that the teachers give them still in the book bags.
Yep.
And that was the thing when my mother used to check my book bag once a week
Yep.
and see what was going on in
Yep.
the school system. You see what's
Yep.
going on at school, what you doing, this, that, and that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dr. T, the main thing I see in the educational system is when I say we, I'm talking about us, don't value education like we used to.
Right.
That's problem number one.
Yep.
That's problem is right. And I tell them all the time, we still can't get anywhere without education.
Correct.
You
Correct.
have to be you have to have education. We still
Correct.
can't get anywhere without education.
Correct. Yeah. Telling my kids, I have kids, my own kids, ranging from soon to next week, 15 to 26. And
Okay.
and it's just like, my mom was alive where she couldn't go to certain schools in the South. I mean, we were raised in, she was raised in Chicago, right? But, there's, somebody that actually experienced that, the Brown versus Board of Education. I was 2 years old when that was, heard at the Supreme Court. It's not that far along, and it seems like people forget, and it's a shame,
It is a shame. Mhm.
but it's our job to remind them.
Every day, because I tell them all the time, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears have gone into getting these opportunities to go to school.
Right.
A lot of folks, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this.
Okay. So special education, which is, I've always said that our elementary teachers, they do a lot of work, and our special ed teachers, my sister, she's an autism teacher
Okay.
for pre-K, and some of the things that she tells me, I'm like, oh my gosh, you should get a lot of money with, some of the bruises that you get and all that extra stuff, and you know what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell us a story, because I still want to wait for the top story because I know it's there. Tell us a interesting story that people won't believe that are not a part of education.
Let me see. Let me think. I have to think a minute. It's so many. There are different. The special education is broken down into different areas. We have the PAL students, the autistic kids, the severe and profoundly handicapped, which are the wheelchair kids, the hearing impaired, vision impaired.
Yep.
But the best students, Dr. T and Chief, the autistic kids are the best because it's something new with them every day. It's never a dull moment with them. They're one thing about special ed students, they're very appreciative of the things you're doing for them. Very appreciative, unlike the so-called regular students. Yeah, they're very appreciative. And when I used to work at a school called George McMakin, and the whole school was special ed.
Okay.
And the autistic kids. And we had a young lady, an autistic young lady, who, when she went to the bathroom, you had to stand by the door.
Yeah.
You had to stand by the door, because when she went to the bathroom, she would take off all her clothes to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So this particular day, I don't know how the teacher, whoever, got distracted, but she left the bathroom door, and here comes the young lady running out of the bathroom, running down the hallway with no clothes on.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
But all we did was just get a towel or something and just put it over her and take her back to. But the autistic kids, they are the best. They were the best. We had some that are high functioning, that, like you said, the 3 digit multiplication by 3-digit multiplication. We had some autistic kids who could do that without paper and pencil.
Right. Yep. Mhm.
The
Highly gifted.
The spectrum. The highly gifted. Yeah, the spectrum. Yeah, so. But the kids I deal with now, they are mostly like I said, a couple grades behind, and what we work on is ELA, English Language Arts, and math mostly.
Yeah. And you're right, they're appreciative, and some of the behavior special ed kids, you just talk to them, you know,
right?
Just make sure they're there, because if you ignore them, they will make sure that you know that they're in the classroom,
right?
And it's like, hey, how you doing today?
Right.
I remember one kid, and hopefully, you know, I was a middle school dean at the time, and our principal, I need to give you the context of it, but he is a small kid. He always got into fights with bigger kids and always got beat up. And
right.
Yeah, just what can I do to make sure you don't try to fight every day? So our principal would sell he would sell candy on a cart, because since we were Title I, we can't sell candy during lunch because the kids will go get the lunch.
Right.
They'll get the candy instead of getting the federal lunch by the Department of Agriculture. So I'm sitting there in hall duty watching kids go in the cafeteria, and this kid says, "Hey," and I looked around, you know, because there's always a teachable moment. So I looked around, said, "Hey, you." I said, "Oh, my name is so-and-so."
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, okay. Where's that white man?" And I said, "Wow. What? The white man with the candy? Where is he? I want to buy something." And I said, "Our principal?" And I stated the name. And I told him, "Hey, his name is what?" And he repeated it, because again, everything's a teachable moment. You don't have to yell at kids.
Right.
Like, "Okay, where is so-and-so at?" I said, "Well, he's coming. You know, I'll let him know that you want to buy some candy and you can be in the front of the line." And he looked at me, sucked in his teeth like this. "You ain't doing nothing."
Wow.
I said, "No, sir. No, sir. Not with 2 master's degree at the time. I'm not selling candy. I'm sorry. You can wait for the principal, but I am not selling candy." And you know, that's just the story of, you know, with our special needs kids, that, you know, talk to them, make sure that they're seen and heard, and go from there. But, you know, hopefully he is doing well, because, you know, you have those kids that come to school, you know, that home life is not great, but you try to, you know, give supports to the parent, and then you don't see them at all.
Right.
They just drop out of nowhere. Have you had some students throughout your career that, hey, you try to find them and you just can't?
Right. Now that's where the problem is, Dr. T. The horror stories that you hear from kids from their home life, or you find out from their home life when you have the IEP meetings and things, and you sit back and you wonder, you know, how some of these kids make it.
Yeah.
With some of the things they go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the things they go through. But yeah, like you say, I'm very, you know, they always want to talk, you know, so you have to see, even the little ones, they want to talk, and they'll tell you all the business that's going on at their house. So you have to tell them, like, you know, I really don't need to hear that, but since you telling me this is as far as it goes. You won't tell it to anything else, and that's, you know, get the social workers, because we have social workers. You know, a lot of times you have to get the social worker involved, and child protective services, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you, both of you, is, a lot of folks are coming back to school, as you said earlier, Joe and Doc, and you have a couple of categories of students coming in. You have your athletes coming in, you have your special needs students, your high achievers, and the like. So, do you all make different recommendations to each group in terms of the success of their scholar? So, for example, do you recommend certain things for the student athlete that's coming back? Do you recommend certain things for the special needs students? The special, do you have different recommendations, or is it a generalized, this is what you need to do to be successful this year?
I would talk on that. It's kind of according with the category the student is in, basically. With the special ed kids, their IEP is for a year. So when they come back in August, September, a lot of them we're still working on the IEP from last year. A lot of their annual meetings, because we don't even start annual meetings till the month of October.
Yeah.
That's when we start our annual meetings, and the annual meetings will go usually from October to May. And then we make recommendations, because a lot of times we have some kids that are able to get out of the special ed program. We'll make a recommendation for them to get out of the special ed program, and then we have some that you say, well, no, we think that he or she needs to be in there long. And the meeting consists of the parent and the teachers and the regular ed teachers and the special ed teachers. Is a group of people that make that decision. Principal designee, or one and the same in the meeting. So all I can really talk about, Chief, is the special ed part. And what we do, once we start the meetings, we'll get the input from all the parties involved, and we'll make a decision on what we want to do with the student.
Gotcha. And what are some of those things that you recommend, Doc, in terms of the academic success for that kid for that upcoming year? Because I know you see it from 20,000 feet as a principal. So what type of things do you recommend to parents? Because we have an audience that's all over the world. So what do you guys recommend in terms of these things? Generally, will put you down the road to success. These things, not so much.
Usually I like having an open house really quickly and right off the bat, because I think it's important to have that connection with the teacher and the parent or their guardians to make sure, hey, we're a team, we're here to help, and that's important. That I see, and with my experience growing up, because my mom and dad, they were active. So I'm like, okay, I got to behave or they're going to get a call. But we just have to make sure that we are proactive as educators and make sure that we're a team and we're not against each other.
And particularly in Baltimore, Joe, do you feel that you have the success, you have the support both from the parents and from your higher ups for a child to be successful in most cases? Is that something that you feel is lacking, or is it adequate, or what are your thoughts on that?
It can be better. It can be better. The combination of working together with the parents and the administration and the staff and things of that nature, it can always be better.
Yeah.
It can always be better. More so with me, with the parents. I think the parents could do a whole lot more than they're doing. They only care about the negative things going on. If little Johnny is in a fight, then they'll come up there and they want to fight, instead of getting the whole story before they jump off the cliff, I call it.
Sure.
Doc, I don't envy you being a administrator, because it from looking from afar, it is a tough job.
Well, let me ask both of you this question. I'm glad you said that. So what do you do when you have reached that point where it's like, I'm not getting the support internally to make my students successful? What do you do from your perspective, Joe? And Doc, what do you do from your perspective to get that, whatever that help is, to move the needle in the right direction?
You can go first, Doc.
Well, the question is basically, how do you make sure everyone's successful and on the same, I always say this, always on the same sheet of music. It is very important. Again, communication. Communication is key. Being on the students, let them know that, hey, I'm on your side. I want you to be successful. I'm not here to get you in trouble, and I don't want you to fail. I think communication, positive relationships with students and parents, and that's very key to a successful year.
I piggyback what Doc says. Communication is of the utmost importance, from starting down from the administration to the faculty, staff, and to the parents. If you can get the parents involved, and like Doc said, we have back to school night early in the school year, as early as possible, and we only see the parents of the kids that we really don't need to see. The parents of the kids that we need to see, we don't see them. Now, I grew up, a little backstory, I grew up in South Carolina, and I can remember back to school night, there would be so many parents, there would be a line outside the teacher's classroom waiting to talk to the teacher.
Yep.
But now it's very, very few. You have to entice them. You have to give them, like they give them groceries, and they give them gift cards, and they give them all kinds of stuff to get them to come. Get them to come to back to school night.
Yeah.
Because I hear one school is having back to school night at the strip club. Is that true, Dr. T?
Probably be standing room only in there.
Really?
I thought I was waiting for it. I was like, it's coming up. It's coming up. But so, Mr. Thompson, as a teacher, how much do you think that you spend with your own money for your students per year?
To tell you the truth, Doc, I stopped that a few years ago.
Okay.
I decided that I was not going to do that anymore, unless very extenuating circumstances. Because we have one thing we do in the schools, one thing they do supply the school system is a bunch of school supplies. Okay. That we have what we call a supply closet. You can go in there and get notebooks and pencils and they give them backpacks and and things like that. So I used to spend quite a bit of money on that, but I've decided a few years back that I wasn't going to do that anymore unless it was extenuating circumstances. Okay. Yeah. What I do, I buy snacks. Because they sometimes they come in hungry and as you know, you can't learn nothing hungry.
Right.
You can't learn anything hungry. So
right.
Wow. And one of the things, and I'm going to try to cue this up, Doc, that I heard, and we talked about this one. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Let me see if I can cue it up.
No, I seriously don't understand why I have to constantly put up with these dumbasses here every day. Between these ungrateful black kids who can't test their way out of a paper bag, or these teachers who don't get it, how hard is it to get these students to meet their grade level expectations? Lawrence and Ravenel should have never been hired. And don't let me get started on India. I'm going to drag this black ass out here one way or another. I'm going to get something sick. I'm just so, I seriously don't understand why I have to constantly put up with these dumbasses here every day. Between these ungrateful black kids who can't test their way out of a paper bag, or these teachers who don't get it, how hard is it to get these students to meet their grade level expectations?
And that was a principal in Baltimore that made those comments. So I'm interested to hear from both of you all. What do you think of those comments?
Unacceptable, as far as I'm concerned. Every child can learn. Might not be to the same extent of a child, but every child can learn. And you'd be surprised what they learn, what they can learn if you work with them. I mean, it might not be like I have a kid that's 2 grades behind grade level. At the end of the school year, he might be only 1 grade behind grade level. Yeah. You just see, my thing is that you can't give up on the kids. You can't give up on them, even though it's a long, hard road, but you can't give up on them. You have to work with them. You have to encourage them. You have to let them know that you're in their corner at all times, and that the best you do the best you can. If that's the best you can do, that's good enough for me.
Early in my career, I talked about educational genocide against our Black youth. And one of Nuri Muhammad at the Cleveland Mosque talked about it's on the tip of my tongue. He talked about dream killers. Mm-hmm. So when I hear that, and I know there are unions involved, there are the administration union, there's the teachers union, and the support staff union. But there's basically 2 things that can get you fired right off the bat. Is having inappropriate relationships with students, that's one, and stealing a substantial amount of money. Nowadays you can steal some money, but if you steal a substantial amount of what?
It depends on how much, right?
Yeah.
Depends
on how much. Okay. So when I hear something like that, dream killers, educational genocide, to me, that is on the top tier of inappropriately touching the student. So there's no investigation. It's like, thank you, sir. You are fine. You are done.
How much time do you have?
Because we go to school not to
43%.
Rich, poor, we white, black kids. We're here to teach kids, right? And the issue is, I know you've heard this, Mr. Thompson. Oh, I can't teach those kids. Like,
right?
What do you mean when you say that, right?
Right.
But when I talk about dream killers and educational genocide, you should be done. No license. You cannot teach anywhere else in the world because you're talking about children.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I listened to that when it first came out, and I think that some of the perceptions of inner city kids and rural kids are based sometimes on isolated incidents. Mm-hmm. I know that there is a big push for certain levels of test scoring rather, and the like. And and I'm wondering, and I'm just playing devil's advocate for a minute, is that the result of that type of pressure? Because I know that every year teachers are expected to have this percentage of kids reading at this level and that many kids graduating and blah, blah, blah. And so has the pressure of just living from a statistical existence created that type of frustration where you have people saying those types of things? Or are we looking at something more sinister, or is it a combination thereof? I'm just trying to understand that.
It could be that. I remember in Atlanta a couple years back, there were about 5 to 10 teachers that were going to prison for racketeering, wire fraud. I'm like, teachers? And what they were doing is they were changing test scores, the state test scores, to ensure higher rates so they can get raises or bonuses like that. So, I mean, there's hate out there, but there's some people that, okay, there's pressure. And like Mr. Thompson said, okay, we're 2 grade levels behind. We're showing growth to at least 1 grade level behind. And let's celebrate that. But some districts, some schools, that's still a failure, if you will, and they might have additional pressures and they could lose their job. And so I could see that.
Well, what do you all recommend? Because I've seen it and we've talked about it to improve the level of parent engagement. I know that I heard you talk about it earlier, Dr. T. Mr. Thompson, I heard you talk about it, for example, people lined up down the block to talk to the teacher. And now you're lucky if you get 3 parents to show up. I'm exaggerating, but I kind of get the message. What do you all recommend as things that may improve that particular aspect? Because I know that's a very important piece of your scholars getting what they're supposed to get.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't have no idea what you can do to get the parents to be more involved. We plead with them, we talk with them, we robocall them. We have we have town halls, and we have all kinds of things, but we still don't get the parental participation that we're looking for. Only during, graduation time, you'll see them coming in or things like that. But to be honest with you, I don't know what else can you do we give them incentives and things like that. Maybe Dr. T can have some things, he can say, but I don't know. And it's disheartening, actually. It's disheartening. Mm-hmm.
There was a shift maybe early 90s after I graduated high school where everything is the responsibility of the school, especially attendance. That never made sense to me, where schools were getting dinged on their state report card or national report card where kids are not coming to school. I'm not there at 6 a.m. to get the child up. I didn't put him to bed or her to bed. So I would like parents. This is a broad stroke because there are a lot of responsible parents in this world that take ownership and things like that. But I just think that, okay, back in the day, if your kids are not going to school, we're taking your driver's license away. We're doing something. Get your kids to school, and make sure that the parents are responsible. I'm at a magnet school now, and I don't have these issues, but being at comprehensive and behavior schools prior, it's just like, parents are like, what do I do? We're here to help, but you can't just blame us, the educator, of what is going on at home, and we get penalized for that, because I don't think that's fair.
Right. Attendance is a big problem in Baltimore City too.
Yeah.
Attendance, getting the kids to come to school. Mm-hmm.
What do you all think that needs to be criminalized? The parents actually, I know that there were laws on the books about truancy and so forth years ago when we were all growing up. But do you think that you need to literally be fined and eventually put in bracelets if you are not ensuring that your child is attending school? If you're doing all you're supposed to do, I know you have a few just bad apples out there, but I'm talking about in general. Do you all think that that's something that needs to happen? I know that's the extreme end of the spectrum, but do you think we're at that point?
We may be now. We do still. They still do have truancy court in Baltimore City for Baltimore City Public Schools.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what the so-called punishments are for the parents in the cases of the students who miss a lot of days of school. But we do have truancy school. And another thing that I think that would help a lot of students is everything they do now is college preparatory. Everybody's not college material.
That's right.
Everybody's not, and a lot of things went astray when they took the vocational aspect out of schools.
Okay.
If they would put that back in the schools, sure. I think a lot of kids would would go to that track.
Sure.
To that track, everybody, I tell them all the time, everybody's not college material. You can make a good living being a plumber or
sure.
air conditioning, refrigeration, or auto mechanic and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Carpenter,
Sure. Well, and I agree with that. And I told Dr. T, because I was so proud that, I just earned my second GED. And you're right, Joe.
I'm a little bit aggressive. I just say, hey, if your kid's not coming to school, take your driver's license. Some of our workers are blue collar workers, which is great. But you can't drive a truck, bus, UPS, or whatever if you don't have a driver's license. I do agree with Mr. Thompson. Trade, it's coming back to me. It's coming back a little bit too slowly, but it's coming back because I was mad at this kid. I had a plumbing problem, and he came, fixed it, and I said, "Hey, I don't mean to be rude, but how much money do you make a year?" He's like, "Yeah, if I hustle a little bit, I can make $125,000 a year." I'm like, "What?"
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I did the wrong thing, right? So, and another thing, and we talked about this, Mr. Thompson. Hey, we do raffles to get teachers, or not teachers, but families to come, groceries, all this stuff. But on the flip side, hey, on the attendance, your kid's not coming. Hey, that refund, IRS tax refund check goes straight to the school. Instead of us focusing on education, we have to focus on gimmicks to get kids, parents to send their kids to school. Now, I understand, hey, we have to have a warm environment, making sure that our teachers are understand the positive relationship building with students and things like that. I get that. We still need to do that. But, the things where, kids are just not coming because they don't want to come, or they stayed up all night playing video games. That's where we're directed to, those parents. And, hey, money talks. You get that refund check, it goes straight to the school.
Now this came in off of the chat. Comment I wanted to share with you. If I can pull up the chat here, just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. And that was that, certain groups are trying to get us to all of us into the trade scene. Those who bite should have somebody like Joe to run their own business. So what do you think? Do you agree that there is an organized effort to steer these students into the trade as opposed to having them compete to get into certain schools or into certain situations? Or I mean, what are your thoughts? Either way.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I say full exposure.
Okay.
We're not here to tell a student that, okay, you only can be a plumber, or you can only be a doctor, or you can only do this. I think exposure is key to everything. You might say, hey, I had a lot of kids that when I was at a comprehensive school, when I taught band, this one girl, she was really good. She's really good at doing hair, and that was her side hustle. And she made a lot of money, right? And if you had $5, $20, she did your hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to her. I remember her name, Ayaka. That's her name. I said, hey, are you thinking about doing that when you grow up? She's like, yeah, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to get through school and I want to do hair. So I said, okay, that's good, but why don't you think about going to just a community college just to get your feet wet and be get your degree in business, because you're a leader. People listen to you. And you know what you can do is you can start off owning your own shop, or in the mini shops, because you have the capacity of doing that. And she's like, oh, I never really thought about that. So, I mean, we're talking about a trade, doing hair, which she's really good at a young age, where she's gonna make a lot of money. And then, okay, I can be a leader, get my business degree, and just own my shops. So my core belief is, hey, expose to everything. Hey, you want to do college? Great. You want to do trade? Great. Or you want to do both? Great.
And I agree with you, Doc. Exposure is the big key, because even if you want to do a trade, you still have to learn you're still going to need math and English and things, the core subjects, for you to do your business.
Yep.
And Michael, being from Baltimore, that Mervo and Carver, they still have selected trades at those two schools. Still.
Oh, excellent.
Still. Mm-hmm.
That's good to know, because I often wondered, had they just totally gone away from VOTEC options, whether that was still available and it used to be available citywide.
Mm-hmm.
Every school used to have some type of VOTEC option that you could pursue to, for those that weren't headed down the path of college. So you could, migrate into that VOTEC option. They had the ability to sort of stay to the military or the college. So you had a whole host of options. And so so what I'm getting from you, particularly you, Joe, is that that's not necessarily the thing anymore.
No, they tried to put all the kids on the college track.
Yeah,
track to go to college. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow. Well, and I guess, Joe, it's interesting, just hearing, and I can hear the frustration in your voice. A guy that's been in the business for over 2 decades, and you really, leave it all on the field, as they say. And when you're looking at the demand for you to raise test scores and raise the ability to be successful, and and it appears that you're kind of getting stymied by a lack of participation from some parents. You have students that don't necessarily respect what you're trying to do and respect the institution, and that creates a very tough situation for, not only the educators, but the administrators and so forth. So I guess, as we leave out of here, I just like to hear from you guys, how do we make it better? In your humble opinion, if you could wave your wand and be king for the day and make it better, what would you do?
One thing that I would do, and it's a lot, is that the kids respond to people who look like them.
Okay.
In the classroom. Try to get more parental involvement. They're doing a program this year in Baltimore City where they're going to try to do a lot of co-teaching models where the special ed kids will be in the class with the regular students, and there'll be a special ed teacher in the classroom and a regular teacher in the classroom. So I'm kind of looking forward to see how that works. Like Dr. T said, expose them to both vocational and academic endeavors. And with that, and put a light of fire under the parents, and I think you'd see a great leap of education coming back in our community.
Awesome. Yeah.
I agree. I concur. Let's do it. People have asked me, hey, you want to get your own school? So if I get my own school after you retire, Mr. Thompson, let's work together and change the narrative. Make sure our students are successful.
Okay. Yes, that's all. Yes, that's very important. We need successful students.
Yep.
And lastly, school's coming up, and I think we're down to 40, 50 hours now. So top 3 things, Joe and Dr. T, that parents should do to make sure that their kids are going to have a successful year.
My one thing is to have the students ready to succeed from the first day of school forward.
Okay. You got 2 more.
I got 2 more.
Yes, sir. You got 2 more. 2 more wishes.
Attendance.
Okay.
And parental involvement.
All right.
That's it. It's so easy. Be involved. Be involved.
Awesome.
And leave those cell phones at home.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Oh boy, good luck with that.
Yep.
Well, actually, Baltimore City next year, they're not letting the kids bring them to school.
That's good. That's good.
Wow. Excellent. And what was the response to that?
It was a lot of negative response to that, but they're just gonna have to toe the line, and
Yeah.
don't back down from it.
Yeah.
They tried to do it one time before and they backed down.
Yeah.
Right. Because all day long you tell them, put your phone out, put your phone out, take your earbuds out all day long.
Gotcha. Wow. Well, Joe, we really appreciate you being here, man. This was a great discussion, and especially hearing from somebody that's been at it for a minute. 25 years is nothing to sneeze at. Yep. So we just appreciate you being here, and your expertise was just really appreciated, man. And certainly we hope that you will come back and join us and share. In fact, we're going to have you back in the middle of the school year.
Okay.
And see how it's going, man.
Okay.
So thanks for coming, Joe. We really appreciate it, man. And good luck. And the kids are very lucky to have you, brother.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for inviting me. Dr. T, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and hope we'll talk again. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to come on. Thank you very much for having me.
It's great to meet you too, sir. Thank you.
All right.
And Doc, if you take us out, man, appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you.
Chief, before we go out, there's one thing that I thought you would say that the teachers should go back to do, and you didn't say it.
Oh, man, I was just You know, Joe, I always talk to Dr. T whenever we have discussions about education. And, you know, and I tell you, because when I was growing up, we didn't have ADHD. We didn't have IEPs, IOUs. We didn't have none of that.
None of that.
You just did and because the teachers, when we were growing up, they used the wonder drug. It cured bad attitudes,
everything.
Eyes. It's a powerful thing.
And another thing,
yes, sir.
Back when we went to school, no matter what the financial situation was, the parents, we had everything we needed when school started.
Yep. That's right. We did, and
nobody gave us any free backpacks and.
Yep. Yeah, you made it happen, and you wore those school clothes all week. You know what I mean? You
took them off when you came home.
Off when you got home, man. But as I was saying, Joe, I hope that at some point teachers will be allowed to give out the wonder drug when it's appropriate.
Okay.
And it's called leather on ass. Yeah.
You must got a lot of bail money for that.
even the studio audience is gonna give me that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or the threat of leather on ass. You don't have to
Wow.
Thank you, child.
That's right.
You know the threat is there.
They're standing up here in the Broker's Hell Studios, man. Wow, man, this is outstanding.
All right, everyone. Have a good day, good night, and thank you for listening to Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
And Joe, hang out with us for a second afterwards, man.
Oh.
Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. No watered down issues. We serve the good stuff. Good stuff. Only one can bring this much fun. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
Chief, I think we're still live.
Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. No watered down issues. We serve the good stuff. Good stuff. Only one can bring this much fun. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.